Hello there everyone, Robin Nichols here with another Photoshop Elements tip for you. Today we're going to be looking at the crop tool, and the crop tool, I think as everybody understands what the crop tool is, it's a tool that allows us literally to snip bits off the photo. One thing you must remember when you're using the crop tool, of course, and very relevant to all those people who like printing their work, is when you crop anything off a photograph, what it does is remove the pixels. So if you start off, for example, here I've got a 7 megabyte file. It's not a very big picture. So if I want to print this, say 10 inches by 8 inches, it's probably just about big enough. But if I decide to crop it, especially if I crop it fairly heavily, something like this, if I go in close on the old Opera House here and click OK, what will happen is, of course, I lose an awful lot of resolution. So I'm down to 2.3 megabytes. So technically I've thrown away an awful lot of pixels, which means that I'm limiting the size that I can blow it up in order to print it. Because remember, printing requires pretty much all the pixels you can get your hands on. Displaying on screen, uploading to a blog or a website, or just emailing the pictures to your friends on Facebook, no problem at all. You can get away with very small resolution pictures. But as soon as you print it, you need a lot of pixels. So what do? We can use the cropping tool, and if you don't know how to get hold of that, it's on the toolbar down the bottom left hand side under the modify slider, or you can just press the letter C on the keyboard and that'll get it there. So just press the letter C, there we go. The crop tool has a number of different guises. For example, we have the ability to crop in the shape of different cookie cutters. Don't think I've ever used this, but it's a fun thing. It's really there for mums and dads and kids. I think got kids who want to do little projects and what have you. But we can also crop using a specific grid, and the grid sometimes is very handy. For example, if we're cropping architecture, that kind of thing. To get rid of the crop tool, if you kind of make a mistake and you want to reset it, just press the escape button on the top left of your keyboard there. We also have an amazing feature. This is the golden ratio, and this is an artistic way of composing images, and it's been used by painters for centuries, and is a fantastic way of kind of recomposing, in inverted commas, your images, and that's called the golden circle or the golden mean. And also we have this one, which is just a cropping circle. Now, one of the really cool things about this is, and going back to my original comments, let's say you want to take your pictures down to a photo lab, or you want to upload them to a photo lab somewhere, and you want, let's say, 4-inch by 6-inch pictures. Most of us these days shoot with 12, 16, 18 megapixel cameras, so way too much data in order to make the picture. We're using 5 times as much pixels as we need. So in this case, it's probably a good idea to reduce the amount of pixels. What that does is make the generic photo a little bit smaller. If we're going to upload them, it means that they can go and upload much, much quicker. And C, there is a C, we basically save an awful lot of time. How do we do that? Well, as you know, Photoshop Elements is one of those funny programs that's kind of open an image, edit it, close the image, open, basically can work on one image at a time. So it's a little bit of a slow horse. What I'm going to show you here is a very quick way to crop and resize your pictures at the same time. Let's say we're going to print them. So I need to make the resolution 300 dots per inch, or pixels per inch. So that's a standard high resolution setting. What it really means is if we have something like 200 or 100, you may not get continuous tone. What will happen is the blue, for example, as it gets darker towards the top of the screen, will form bands, and you'll see posterization happening. So 300 pixels per inch is the perfect printing resolution. But what we can do here is we can get a little bit sneaky, is I can go and type in my desired size. So the width, of course, is, what did I say? It was going to be 6 inches. So I must type in IN next to the 6, and then under the height measurement I'm going to type in 4 IN for inches. So now if I crop it, I should get a 4 by 6 or a 6 by 4 inch image cropped to 300 pixels per inch. And what it's actually doing is resampling. So in the back end of this program, it's just going to downsample. Now if I click and drag, you can see it doesn't matter which way I move the crop tool, it holds that proportion. So it's locked into any time I let go, for example that, if I hit the yes I'm ready green check mark, what will happen is this will produce a 6 by 4 inch image. So if I go to image, resize image size, you can see here under inches I get 6 by 4 at 300. So very, very neat. So of course what I do is this, I'm going to click and drag it down, And again, this allows me to recompose. I've got to rotate this crop marquee just a little bit. Want a little bit more of the Opera House. Okay. Something like that. Press Enter or the green check mark. Bingo, 6.18 megabytes, which is perfect resolution for, if we just show you here, 4x6 at 300 dpi. Very simple. So what I'll do quickly there is then save this into a folder called for printing. And therefore I can whiz through 50 pictures very, very quickly, simply by clicking, dragging and letting go and recropping, but at the same time resizing my pictures so that they fit perfectly into the template that we use in a mini lab. Now further to that, there are of course in the drop down menu a number of presets. So I've used 4x6 because it's a very popular preset. If I decide that I'm going to shoot, crop a vertical image, of course I just click on these little measurements in between the two arrows and it goes 6x4, 4x6, 6x4, 4x6. That's a very simple operation. But what about this? If I actually want to use this image on the front cover of my upcoming blurb book. Now blurb has a fantastic format called large landscape, and that's 13 inches wide, 11 inches high. So I'm thinking, gee whiz, what am I going to do here? 13 inches wide. Okay, let's just try it. So I'm going to go 13 inches. Okay, 13 inches by, what did I say it was? It's going to be 11 inches, I think, high. So it's a, it's not quite square, but it's kind of not quite fully rectangular either. It's kind of a funny format. So now I click, drag, 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 drag. Oh, I forgot to put the resolution in. Let's put in 300, because again, it's going to be printed as a book. 300, 300, 300. Okay, so as you can see here, it's, I can't actually pull that center one at all. It's got to be a corner one. Okay, it's going to be a little bit awkward to get this fitting in, so I'm going to something like that. That's pretty much full height, and I'm going to say, yep, that looks good. Press Enter. Wow, it suddenly goes bigger, and now it's 36.8 megabytes. Ooh, what happened there? Whoops, I missed the top off. So if we go and have a look at the resize image size dialog box, you can see, if I change it to inches again, it's 13 by 11 inches. Whoa! Okay, so what we've done is, instead of downsampling the picture, we've upsampled it, and what that means is we've actually added pixels to it, and hey, it looks pretty good. So providing you've got a reasonably good, clear, sharp, medium to high resolution picture, and I'm talking 8, 10, 15 megapixels, then you can add probably double the amount of pixels without any significant loss of quality. And that's really how to customize your cropping tool to make it work for you.